Good morning, everyone. In a few minutes, we are about to begin for sheet metal creation in Onshape. If you think this live stream is beneficial to someone you know, please invite them to join us. My name is Veronica Noche, representing University of Batangas, inviting you all to join our communities, to follow our Facebook page, Onshape Users Worldwide. Please join our Facebook group, Digital Creatives Philippines. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Onshape Users Worldwide. And in LinkedIn, Onshape Users Worldwide. So without further ado, let's welcome our instructor for this evening, Nelsie Marceliana.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Miss Nelsie.
Okay, thank you, Veron. Okay, hi everyone. Good evening, everyone. We are now live in YouTube on Shape Users Worldwide. Okay, so this is our fourth series for mastering on Shape. Okay, so if you miss the first, second, and third course, please visit youtube.com/onshape users worldwide. Okay, so our first event is 2D sketching in Onshape. Second series is master part modeling in Onshape. Third is surface modeling. Okay, and this is our today's session is sheet metal creation in Onshape. Okay, so I'll be posting the link in the comment section on where you will access Onshape. Okay, so installing Onshape, they don't exist. To get up and running with Onshape, all you need is a Mac, PC, Chromebook, or Linux computer with a web browser such as Chrome, Firefox, Opera, or Edge. Okay, there's nothing to download and nothing to install. Just navigate the link that I post in the comment section and sign in with your username and password. Okay, to those who are new to Onshape, asking how is this possible? Okay, Onshape is the only professional grade 3D CAD and data management system that runs completely in the cloud and can be accessed from anywhere on any device. Okay, so it even runs on iOS and Android tablets and phones via dedicated mobile apps available from the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Okay, so I have here my tablet. I have here my Onshape there. So I just installed it Onshape at 3D. So you can grab it in the Google Play Store. So there's no difference whether you're working in your tablet or in your Chrome. Okay? So the app is complete, fully functional 3D CAD system in the palm of your hand. So your entire team can work together from any location, editing the same design data at the same time on any available device. Okay, so let's now sign in. I'll be signing in. So you'll be needing your username and password. Okay, so I'll be creating a new document. So click create, selecting document. Let's rename it to sheet metal. Click create public document. Okay, so we have our three planes here, our top, front, and the right plane. Okay, so let's head over and select create new sketch. Let's left click. Okay, we are prompted to select a sketch plane. So I'm going to click top plane. So left click, right click, selecting view normal to sketch plane. Okay, or you can press N on your keyboard. So let's head over to our toolbar, selecting center point rectangle. Let's place our rectangle here on our origin. Left click. Left click. We are prompted to input a value, so you can just uh, type in 6, hit enter, and type in 3. Okay. So we have three ways to start a sheet metal part. So the first one is converting a solid. So let's click finish a sketch. Head over to our camera and render options, selecting isometric, selecting extrude, selecting this profile, and click the green check mark. Okay, so this one is solid. So if we want to turn it into a sheet metal part, head over to this, selecting sheet metal model. So click convert, selecting this. So selecting faces to exclude, I'm going to select this face and click the green check mark. Okay, so that's the one way on how you will create your sheet metal model. So second is extruding an open profile. So I'm going to delete this one. And let's use this sketch. Heading over to sheet metal model, selecting the extrude, selecting sketch curves to extrude. Let's select this one, and this one. So you can uh, end time to end type to be blind. You can change that and opposite direction. If you want to be symmetric and the normal, you can input the thickness. Okay, so let's just all leave by defaults and click the green check mark. Okay, so the third one is thicken a face. So I'm going to delete this one. If you want to delete something, you can just press the delete key on your keyboard. So heading over to sheet metal model, selecting thicken, selecting this face. Okay, and click the green check mark. Okay, so that's the three way on how to start a sheet metal part. Okay, so now you can see the sheet metal tools here. So we have the sheet metal model, the flange, the hem, the tab, the make joint, corner, bend relief, and the finish sheet metal model. So as we go along the way, we'll tackle these tools. Okay. So next, let's tackle the flange tool. Okay, so flange is creating a wall for each edge selected for each edge selected for a sheet metal model connected by a bend. So I have here my in model, so I just extrude it using the open profile. So you just extrude your lines. Okay, so to create a flange, we are now in the part studio. So click flange. So select the edges. Select the edge or side faces along which to create a flange. So notice, okay. So you can specify the flange alignment. So we have the inner. So by default, it's inner. So inner, align the inner wall of the flange wall with the inner edge of the side tip. Okay, so look closely. Next is the outer. So, of course, align the outer wall of the flange wall with the outer edge of the side lip. We also have middle. Align the mid-plane of the flange wall with a theoretical line halfway between the inner and the outer edge of the tip. Okay, so you will use this inner. And for the end type, we also have blind, up to entity with offset. So sa bent angle enter a specific angle value measured from the edge from which to extend the flange. Okay, so it can be opposite side. So for now, let's leave it to flange alignment to be inner and bend type to be opposite side, and you can also enter the degree. So I'm going to key in 100. So notice the changes. And if you are satisfied or that's the right thing to do, you can just click the green check mark. Okay. Okay, next. Next, we have the sheet metal hem. So create one or more hems on existing sheet metal part. So from the part studio, let's click on hem. We are prompted to select an edge or side faces. So I selected this edge. We have choose the direction using the flip arrow. So you can click opposite. Okay. And we can also specify the hem type. So we have teardrop. So that's by default. Make a hem a teardrop shape. The length extends from the very back of the curved edge to the front edge of the hem. Okay. So inner radius, the measurement of the inner radius of the hem bend. We also have a minimal gap. When checked, this field uses the value specified as the minimal gap in the sheet metal model feature. So the value representing the distance between the end of the rolled hem and the sheet metal being hemmed. Okay, so feel free to play with it. Next, we have the gap. When minimal gap is unchecked, specify the specific gap you required. And of course, we have the total length, the length of the hem from the outermost edge of the hem to the end. We also have hem alignment. So the alignment of the hem in relationship to the outer edge of the hem. So outer aligns the outside edge. Okay. In place adds the outside edge beginning at the edge of the sheet metal. So please do check this two hem alignment to see the difference. We also have the corner type. So it is where hems come together on a sheet metal. So specify which type of corner to form. So simple results in a straight line in the flat view. Close closes up as much as possible so the corner can be welded and results in more complicated geometry in the flat. Okay. So next we have our rolled. Changing it to rolled. So notice, let's turn off our plane. So now I changed to rolled. Okay, so roll the hem over the edge using a specific radius. So we also have the inner radius, the angle, the hem alignment, and the corner type. And last, we have our straight. Okay, so notice. So in straight, align the hem along the sheet metal material. So in specifications, flatten. So flatten when checked, places the hem flush against the sheet metal material. So using the sheet metal models, minimal gap for the space between hem and the sheet metal. So if unchecked, so it's the flatten is unchecked. So this is what it looks like. We have the inner radius, the total length, as well as the hem alignment and the corner type. Okay. So these tools are also available in your Onshape 3D app. Okay. Next, let's create our first model. Let's now create our first model. Let's click on the Onshape logo. Go to Documents, selecting Create, selecting Document, select, let's rename it to Practice Number 1. Let's click Create Public Document. Okay, so our sketch is in millimeters. So by default, the Onshape is in inch. Okay, so let's head over to Document menu, selecting Workspace Units. So we have different units or measurement. For this one, let's use millimeter. Leave all by defaults and click the green check mark. Let's now click Create New Sketch or Shift plus S, the shortcut key. Selecting our top plane, left click. Press N for View Normal to Sketch Plane. Let's grab our line. You can also press L on your keyboard. Let's create a line here on our origin, our first point in our origin, left click. With the vertical inferred constraint active, let's double left click. So notice the vertical constraints. Double left click. Let's create another line here. With the horizontal inferred constraint active, let's left click. Notice the vertical line, vertical constraints. Left click. Notice the horizontal inferred constraints. Left click and left click. Okay, so hit escape to exit out line. Our next intent is to create an arc here. Selecting 3-point arc, or you can press A on your keyboard. Placing the first point here, left click, left click. Notice the tangent constraint and double left click. Let's hit escape. Notice some of our lines are in the shade of black and some are in the shade of blue. So to make it fully constrained, let's head over here. If your lines are not vertical or horizontal, you can use a horizontal vertical constraint. So shortcut key is H for horizontal and V is for vertical. And tangent, we use tangent to have a smooth connection of our line and our arc. The arc and our line. So if your um, line and arc is not yet smooth, please do use tangent. Okay, so our next intent is to add dimensions to this profile. Click dimension, or you can press D on your keyboard. Selecting this line and the center point of our arc, left click, and key in 32. Zooming in, let's move it here. Dimension field is still active. Let's select this line, left click, and key in 21. Selecting this line and this line, left click, key in 44. Okay. Let's hit escape to exit out dimension. Let's check this. Okay. So let's define the dimension of this arc. Press D. Selecting this arc, left click, radius to be 4. Okay. Let's now create circle here. Selecting center point circle, or you can press C on your keyboard. Selecting this, left click. Let's key in 3. Let's hit escape to exit out circle. Okay, our next intent is this circle and the center point of this circle and the center point of this arc will be joined. So let's click on concentric, selecting this circle and this arc. Notice that all our objects are in the shade of black. Let's now click Finish Sketch. Head over to our camera and render options, selecting isometric. Selecting Sheetmetal model. Selecting thicken. Selecting this face. thickness to be 2, and click the green check mark. Okay. Next, we need to create a flange here. Let's click on flange, edges or side faces to flange, selecting this. Okay. Flange alignment to be inner and type to be blind. Distance to be 10. Bend angle to be 90 degrees and click the green check mark. Okay. If you have questions, you can post it in our comment section. Okay. Our next intent is to cut material here. So let's head over and select this face, left click, right click, and select new sketch. Press N for view normal to sketch plane. I'm going to grab our corner rectangle, or you can press G on your keyboard. Placing a rectangle here, left click, and double left click. Hit escape, press G once more, creating a rectangle here, left click, and double left click. Let's hit escape, press D for dimension, selecting this line and this line to be 5. This line and this line to be 5. This line and this line to be 5. Let's hit escape. Notice this sketch is in the shade of blue. Okay, so let's use horizontal, selecting this point and this point. Okay. Let's now click the green check mark. Head over to Extrude, selecting Extrude. Selecting this face, this face, this face, and this face. Notice the operation is remove. Okay, so for the end type, let's select up to face. Selecting this face and click the green check mark. Okay. Okay. Our next intent is to create another flange. Selecting flange, left click. Selecting this edge. Head over to isometric. Flange type, flange alignment to be inner and type to be blind. Distance, I'm going to key in 40. And for the bend angle, let's key in 47. Okay, notice the changes and click the green check mark. Okay. Let's create another flange. Selecting flange, selecting this edge. So notice the bend angle. For the distance, I'm going to key in 16. For the bend angle to be 60. Okay, and click the green check mark. Okay, moving forward, let's create a circle here. On this face, left click, right click, and select New Sketch. Press N to view normal to sketch plane. Okay, press C. Let's locate the midpoint of this edge. So notice the midpoint symbol. Let's left click. So diameter of the circle to be 15. Let's click the green check mark. Pressing Shift E for extrude. Selecting this face. For the end type to be up to face. For the face, selecting this face. Notice and click the green check mark. Okay. Next, let's create a cut extrusion on this face. Selecting this face, left click, right click, and select New Sketch. Press N, view normal to sketch plane. Press L for line. Okay, left click, and double left click. So notice the vertical inferred constraint. Okay. So our intent here is to create a slot. Selecting head over to our toolbar. Selecting slot. Selecting this line. And just left click. So the diameter of our slot to be 5. Press D for dimension. Selecting this line and key in 25. Okay, let's hit escape. Okay, our next intent is to align it horizontally. Pressing Alt C, typing POI, selecting point, locating the midpoint of this edge. So notice the symbol, left click, and locating the midpoint of this line, left click. Press H, selecting this point and this point. Let's now click the green check mark. Head over to isometric. Shift E for extrude. Selecting this face. For the end type to be up to face. Selecting this face. And click the green check mark. Okay. Next. So let's create a Let's use this face, right click, selecting new sketch, view normal to sketch plane, press L for line. Let's place our first point in the middle, selecting this, selecting left click, and hit escape. So I want this line to be horizontal, selecting this line, and press H on your keyboard. Press L for line. Let's create lines. Press A for 3-point arc. Left click, and left click. Press D for dimension. Selecting this line and this line to be 10. I want the endpoint of this line and this center point to be joined. Head over and click coincident, selecting the center point and the endpoint of this line. Okay, so let's now define the radius of this arc. So press D, selecting this arc, radius to be 5. Okay, so let's create center diameter circle. Press C, selecting this diameter to be 5. Let's hit escape. Let's check this blue line. Okay. Head over to constraints and select tangent. Selecting this line and this arc. Okay. It's now fully defined. It's now in the shade of black. So let's now click Finish Sketch. Let's click on a tab. Click on tab, selecting this profile. Notice and click the green check mark. Okay, we are almost done. Let's now add some fillet. Shift F, the shortcut key for fillet. Let's select the edge. Use your scroll wheel to zoom in and zoom out, while your right mouse button to orbit. Okay. So radius to be 2 millimeter and click the green check mark. Okay. Congratulations for completing your first part, your first sheet metal in Onshape. We'll be having a short break. When we come back, we're going to create our second model.
Hi guys, hope you are all well despite of this pandemic. So, shout out to all the viewers out there, to my family and friends in Bawan and Balayan, to University of Batangas, especially to my instructor Sir Gilbert Mendoza, to my family, maka ME family classmates. Always keep safe. So let's get back to Miss Nelsie to continue her discussion.
Okay. Let's now click to go to documents, selecting create document. Let's key into practice 2 and click create public document. So in Onshape, you don't need to save. So if you are working on a file, Just it will always be there. It's stored in cloud where you can access it anytime, anywhere. Okay, let's now create new sketch, selecting our top plane, view normal to sketch plane. So our first sketch will be our reference sketch. Head over and select center point rectangle. Selecting the first uh, left click on the origin, placing the first point of our rectangle, left click, and double left click. Let's hit escape. Okay, so units used in this sketch is millimeter. So let's change our workspace units. Head over to document menu, selecting workspace units, and change it to millimeter. And click the green check mark. So let's now press D for dimension, selecting this line. Press D for dimension, selecting this line and this line. Key in 50. Selecting this line and this line to be 100. Okay. Our next intent is to create a circle here. Press C for circle. Placing our circle here, left click, diameter to be 9, and hit enter. Center diameter circle is still active. Let's create another one. Left click, and key in 5. Okay. Press D for dimension. Selecting our origin, left click, and the center point of our circles, left click. Let's key in 12.5. Notice that our sketch is now in the shade of black. Let's now click the green check mark. Head over to isometric view. Okay, our next intent is to create another sketch on our front plane. Press L for line. Selecting our front plane, left click. View normal to sketch plane. L for line. Let's place a line here, left click. Notice the horizontal inferred constraint. Let's left click and hit escape. Press D for dimension. Selecting this line and key in 60. Press L for line. Let's create a line here, left click. Select, let's make a slant line, left click, and double left click. Okay. Let's create another line, left click. Placing it in our origin, left click. Place our line in our origin, left click, and double left click. Let's hit escape. So notice I created two lines. So let's press delete on your keyboard. Okay. Head over to constraints and select symmetric. Selecting this point, and this line. Selecting coincident, selecting this endpoint, and the center point of our reference rectangle. Let's hit escape. Let's move this. Press D for dimension, selecting the origin and this endpoint to be 42. Hit escape. Press D, selecting this line and our origin to be 30. Let's hit escape. Our next intent is to split this line. Head over to our toolbar and select split. Selecting this line, let's split in the middle, left click. So notice the dimension is deleted. This line and this line will serve as a helper. So let's turn it into a construction entity. So selecting this line, let's first exit split. Selecting this line and press Q for construction. Selecting this line and press Q for construction. Press D for dimension, selecting the endpoint and this endpoint to be 60 and hit enter. Let's now click the green check mark. Isometric view. Okay. Head over to Sheetmetal model. Selecting Extrude. Selecting this object, this, and this. Okay. So let's place it in opposite direction. Thickness to be 2 millimeter. Leave all by defaults. And click the green check mark. Okay. Selecting tab. Selecting this. Notice. And click the green check mark. Let's cut our material here. Head over to Feature Toolbar and select Extrude. Let's turn on the visibility of our Sketch 1, selecting this eye to show Sketch 1. Selecting this. For the end type, let's change it to up to face. Selecting this face, notice, and click the green check mark. Okay. Let's now turn off the visibility, or let's hide Sketch 1. Okay, our next intent is to mirror this. Press Alt C, typing MIR, selecting mirror. Entities to mirror, selecting this. For the mirror plane, selecting our front plane, left click. Notice. Operation to be add, and click the green check mark. Pressing Alt C, typing or selecting mirror. Entities to mirror, selecting this. For the mirror plane, selecting our right plane. Okay, notice our operation to be add, and click the green check mark. Okay. Okay. So our next intent is to create or cut material here. So to do that properly, let's head over to Sheetmetal table and flat view. So this functionality is currently available only in Onshape's browser platform. So edit an existing Sheetmetal model's bend, rips, and joints. And also view the Sheetmetal flat pattern. Okay, so this is our existing Sheetmetal in a part studio. Let's click this icon midway along the right side of the window, selecting this. Okay, this will appear. So you can make it larger. Okay. Our intent here is to create a rectangle. Selecting this face, left click, right click, and select new sketch. Okay. Let's grab our corner rectangle. Let's place it here. Let's hit escape. Press D for dimension. Selecting this line and this line to be 10. This line and this to be 10. This and this to be 10. Okay. So let's utilize mirror command. Press L for line. Let's locate the midpoint of this line, left click, and double left click. Let's hit escape. Let's turn this line into a construction entity by pressing Q on your keyboard. Head over to search tools, typing MIR, selecting mirror. Select entities to be mirrored, selecting this, this, and this. Notice the preview. Okay, press D for dimension. Hit escape. Checking this. Okay. D, selecting this and this. Let's key in 25. Let's hit escape. Head over to search tools. Typing POI, selecting point, locating the middle of this line, left click, and left click. Let's hit escape. Selecting horizontal, left click. Selecting this point and this point. It's now in the shade of black. Let's now click Finish Sketch or click the green check mark. Let's now cut material. Shift E for extrude. Selecting this profile and this profile. Notice as I left click here, it also changes here. Okay. Operation to be removed and click the green check mark. Okay, let's close this sheet metal. To end up our sketch, let's add fillets. Shift F for fillet. For the edges, let's select the edges. Let's fillet this edge, this edge, this edge, this edge. So notice the preview as you use fillet. This edge, this edge, this edge, and this edge. So radius to be 2 mm and click the green check mark. Head over to camera and render options and select isometric. Turning off. Let's hide origin, our top, our front, and our right plane. Okay. Great job for completing your second sheet metal in Onshape. Okay. So for our final attendance, type in or post it in the comment section, hashtag sheet metal in Onshape. Okay, so that will be our final attendance for the certificate of event participation. Okay, so if you want to grab the certificate of course completion, I'll be posting the link in the comment section where you will enroll. Okay, so I'll be adding Veron for announcements.
So that's conclude our discussion. Thank you, Miss Nelsie, for sharing your knowledge to us. So once again, inviting you all to join our communities, Onshape Users Worldwide Facebook group, Onshape Users Worldwide YouTube channel. Please do subscribe. Onshape Users Worldwide Facebook page, and in LinkedIn, Onshape Users Worldwide. So before this live end, I would like to thank Sir Jomark Bakiran for this opportunity. That's all.
Thank you, Veron. Okay, so please do enroll if you want to have a certificate of course completion. So typically, you just need to comply with the project that I did in that course. Okay, so that is absolutely free. And I'd like to invite everyone on our upcoming Onshape sessions. Head over to youtube.com/Onshape users worldwide, selecting upcoming live streams. Okay, our next live stream will be on September 17 at 7 p.m. That's our fourth session. No, fifth session. Okay, if you are interested to join our trainings, please do click set reminder. Okay, so that you will be not notified when it goes live. Okay. Okay. So thank you for joining us this evening, and I hope you are all safe and healthy, and we'll see you on our next Onshape live stream. Bye everyone.